founders own way too much. They are hoarding so many responsibilities. And I think on some level, I don't know what you think, but AI helps them deliver, transition those responsibilities to other folks and set some guardrails around them.
AI is something everybody talks about, and there are more experts on AI than you know what to do with.
Yeah.
Which means nobody is an expert on it. But I do remember when I first encountered, I think you've mentioned Ask Jeeves, anything like
Ask Jeeves, Alta Vista, Yahoo even.
Yahoo,
Yep.
30 some years ago. And how that was transformative.
Internet, the whole thing was transformative.
And we're at that phase with AI right now.
Right.
It's
a baby.
It is such an infant, like not even crawling.
Right. Newborn.
But okay, reading some factoids here. The adoption of this, I think because of things like SEO 30 years ago. This was a study from Accenture, okay? 72% of consumers use ChatGPT regularly, meaning at least once a day. But they're often using them now for product recommendations.
Yes.
They're making these engines the new influencers. They're creating the need for brands to make themselves visible. The tools are new. They're quickly gaining momentum. But this was eye-popping. The traffic AI sources are driving to retailer websites has risen 1,200% since July of last year. And this was from Adobe as well. I think it's amazing how I believe that AI now, get your take on this, is sort of flipping the script on how retailers and consumers utilize it to find each other.
Right. And yes, I think how it kind of starts, right, as you're asking ChatGPT or an AI about something. You know, how can I improve my health? Or just similar to how we used to look at the search transitions for someone on Google. They'd start with this search and then they'd go deeper and they'd go deeper. You know, some of that same behavior is happening, but now in ChatGPT at, much faster rate. So I might start with, can you help me improve my health and build me a plan? Okay, now what products can go with that plan? And that is starting to really be more prevalent. And I'm seeing a lot more people do that than I'm seeing use Google, to be honest. I mean, Google just posted a really good earnings call, but at the same time, this has got to have some impact at some point on what is the human capital of search, which is how, Google really started, was how do you define the human capital of search? And I think it's being redefined with
Truly
AI.
Is. You think of your daily use of it, just how we use it.
Yes.
There is no magic bullet, but boy, is it a good partner.
It's we call it the silent partner.
Silent partner, right?
It's a great silent partner. Yeah. It is not going to completely, we might have different views on this, but it's not going to completely substitute humans. Humans need human interaction. Actually, we know from our the health side of the coin, right, is relationships matter. But when you're talking about things you're doing, if you can do them better, there are so many of those that AI can help you do better, smarter, more efficient, level you up. Yes. Yeah. I even saw a statistic. The consumer side is very interesting because I think the founders that we work with really have to pay attention and understand how that impacts them. On the flip side, I saw that direct-to-consumer founders, only 1 in 4 are using AI in some fashion.
Serious. Wow.
Even though tools are probably staring them right in the face.
Why is that?
Change is slow, right? It's slow. Like I talked to a founder a couple days ago, And she may be a guest on this show for us, which would be great because we'll have guests coming up.
Yep.
But she's got about a $15 million business. And I said, so how are you leveraging AI these days to help you either decrease your expenses, create more efficiencies, or how do you help you grow your revenue, help you optimize your marketing calendars or marketing strategy? And she went dumb. She went silent.
I don't.
Silent. Yeah,
Couldn't
she just
reply,
didn't even know how to respond. I think
Wow.
an interesting thing is she probably knows, in her head, she knows AI can help me. On the day-to-day, I start my day at 9 or whatever, and I'm not thinking about it through the day just yet because change is hard. If I'm used to a regular rhythm of stuff, it's gonna take me a minute to pop out and go, how could I have inserted AI into that inventory management conversation, marketing conversation?
Yeah, I was talking to a guy last week. So they're in the healthcare space, and he was new to his role. He's wearing a zillion hats, but he said, I think we touch an invoice 7 times, meaning when it's created, we got a customer, it gets passed, someone else handles it, it goes over here, it goes down here. And so I said, well, why don't we do this? Just document that. I don't care how it's documented, but then let's get back together and review all the people and the whys around that. He didn't really have any whys around it. He just said, it goes from here to here and here to here and here to here. And then we ultimately get it sent out, and then we try and process it and all this. We sat down and typed that out and then put it into chat. And in real time said, okay, improve this process, identify the friction. I only want one person to touch this before it goes out.
Yep.
How can we do that efficiently? We're not talking about eliminating jobs or doing any of that stuff. Just make it better.
Right.
And this total investment in time was maybe 30 minutes.
Wow.
But his reaction was just priceless because he's the same way. He's like, wow, the way we do things, it's the human interaction, it's the touch and the this and the that, and it's so important to our culture. I said, yeah, but however, if you could do that but 10 times faster, wouldn't you want to?
Right.
And so we did that. We punch it in, and out comes this. Not only here's how to improve it, here's who shouldn't be touching it, and here's how to then change it right now. He literally sat forward and he went, oh my God. He goes, this is so obvious.
One of the things we work on with founders is you've got to let data help you make some decisions, right?
Yeah.
They're smarter decisions. But now you've got the opportunity. And one of the things that was talked about 10 years ago was, going back to this 30 years ago, internet is just a newborn then, right? And we're all getting used to the internet. And then you fast forward 15 years and we're all pretty comfortable with e-commerce and the internet. But now we've got this big data to contend with. We know we have a lot of data at our fingertips. And it's really hard because big data is not meaningful. Small insights is the meaningful part. And getting to small insights has been a struggle for several years.
Like, what's an example of a small insight?
Small insight on all of the marketing data you could consume. Yeah. You could consume impressions, engagements, across all marketing channels. Yeah. What's the small insight from that so that you can use it to make a better decision for the future of your business, right?
So the now what?
Yeah. So the now what? Well, AI just made that 1,000 times easier.
Yeah, so fast.
Right?
Yeah.
Upload all of your marketing analytics, upload all of your financials, and let it give you at least a baseline set of small insights. You may still need to look those over and go, is that right? Does that make sense? How do I make decisions from that? But it just cut off hours of analysis and put small insights in your lap within, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing, to just encourage, if it's a founder or even if it's somebody that's just in sales, how do I do this faster and better?
Yes.
Wouldn't you want to?
Right.
And there's that fear of like, they're going to replace me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to lose my job. Well, what if you were so amazing at it, utilizing this tool, that they couldn't replace you?
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Right.
And that's the same as if you're founder of a company. Just how do I differentiate and just do things with speed, stealth, and urgency? Just
Yep.
and it used to be in the old days. You remember when we were kids, it was like, well, you had to hire more people. You just had to hire
Always manpower.
bodies,
It's
just more,
always a
shovel
manpower
more people
conversation.
at it.
Yep.
Oh my God, the training, the onboarding, and the this and the that. And then, 7 out of 10 wouldn't work out, and 3 out of 10 would be amazing, and you'd start over. And I think those days are completely gone.
They're gone. At the same time, you have the opportunity now to work with people and have them work on things that are more satisfying in reality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to sit there 8 hours a day and look at invoices and figure out who you need to call and who you need to, I don't know, take to a collection
Right, yeah.
agency. Why not level that person up and say, I want you to kind of think at a higher level. You want to work with me on what these invoices actually say about our
Mhm.
business, or what the financials say. I think it gives founders and executives an opportunity to now train people to the
Right.
next level.
Do you think startups are better at adapting that, or more established companies?
It's a good question. I could be wrong, but I think younger founders when I talk to founders who are maybe just a little bit older, even if they're running an e-commerce business, they're a little bit blank in the face when I ask them how are they using AI to help them be more scalable, be more profitable, and they just go dumbfounded.
Yep.
Versus a younger founder I talked to last week was like, you know what? I'm really excited. I'm using AI in these couple areas. It's not super special or anything. I've just started, and I'm looking forward to figuring out how I can use AI more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think the later stage companies are there's something weird going on that I've noticed, like the culture at these businesses. Well, this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
And it's worked. It's gotten us this far. Why would we want to disrupt that? And I just want to slap them, just like, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you want to fix this? And so they don't see the problem. They're used to the rhythm of their business. It seems to be working. Those are some really cute tools. Maybe I'll use them, but
Yeah.
AI is a fad, just like SEO was a fad, just like the internet was a fad,
E-commerce,
just
yep.
like cars were a fad. It's like, hey, it's probably here.
Right.
And I think the ones that are adapting it and using it day to day are going to really win.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like so many scenarios that you just talked about is get ready to be disrupted. Get ready for those who appropriately use AI. And we should talk about that maybe a little bit, but appropriately use AI to disrupt and grow way past their competition, essentially. So what are a couple ways you're seeing are most effective utilizations of AI?
Well, we start with the balance sheet with so many companies.
Yes.
And so I always just say, let's look at your balance sheet and let's look at it over the last maybe year or two. And then let's take this year and project it out. Where can we improve that balance sheet by 5%? Just let's understand this. Just approach it from that angle. What sort of liabilities do we have? How old are those liabilities? Could we increase collections a little bit quicker? And if so, how? It's like, oh, well, maybe I'll take all of my client receivables and let's understand who owes us money. Is there a way we can develop a tool to collect the ones that are 60 days and push them into 30 days? Maybe there's discounts we could offer. And all of a sudden you do this analysis, and this is not a 2-week deal. This is like maybe a 20-minute deal.
Right.
And you come up with, oh my God, we can increase cash by 5% just doing these simple things. So everybody's trying to do these great big moonshot deals with AI. It's sort of like, maybe we look at the basic operation.
Would you recommend they just upload their balance sheet,
Yeah.
Annual balance sheets or quarterly balance sheets and say,
Monthly,
hey,
yeah.
can you help me find the opportunities?
Let's identify them. And then it's like, well, where should I parse this out? You know, act as my accountant or act as my McKinsey consultant.
Right.
Go through my balance sheet line by line and start asking me questions. And when you turn AI or a chat or anybody into any tool into a conversational tool, it becomes really powerful.
Right.
Because then it says, well, it looks like your receivables are starting to age a little bit. Have you looked into? And so, I haven't actually. Maybe we should do that. And what's going on here? And so it allows you to really parse out those issues that are right there in front of you.
Right.
And what company wouldn't want to increase the amount of cash on hand by 5 or 10%?
Right. Give me a cash flow budget from this or a cash flow forecast. And
exactly.
And you're the balance sheet guy. And I'd say I'm the income statement girl. I love my income statements and I love what it says. And for a founder, I uploaded 12 months of income statements, 12 months of performance by marketing channel, right? I'm talking spend, return on ad spend, engagement. And I uploaded, product category performance.
Yep.
So performance by category. And I said, tell me what this is saying about the highs and the lows of the business model for this founder.
Interesting, yeah.
And I had to, and that was the starting point. And then I think you can go into things like, tell me the smallest action item I could take within 30 days, right? You can really stress test
it's amazing.
AI, and get it down to, like you said, as if you're having a conversation with an employee. And now what you do is you have that employee sort of start to own those types of things. Founders own way too much. They are hoarding so many responsibilities. And I think on some level, I don't know what you think, but AI helps them deliver, transition those responsibilities to other folks and set some guardrails around that. Here's how I do it. Here's how I use AI. Here's how I get to insights. Can you help, own this so that we can take the right actions forward and grow the business?
I created and I didn't know how to do this. So it was really odd to say to chat, hey, teach me how to make an AI agent that will prompt me every morning to do the following.
Yep.
And it was just an income statement analysis. And then it's down to some KPIs for a business. And so think about that for your business. If you simplify this and just say, here's the 3 things I have to watch every day. And when I get to work, you prompt me and say, here are the 3 things. Maybe it's return on ad spend. What happened with our ad campaign yesterday? It used to be we had to wait, a week or 2 weeks or a month. Did it work? Did it not work? What happened this morning? Tell me the channels that are working. Let's really start to pour the fuel into that channel. Let's talk about our outbound sales and create an agent that starts to prompt you with those. So it's not like you're walking down the hall chasing people, say, how did it go yesterday? Or how come you didn't make more calls? It just does the analysis for you in a conversational way. Example, it would say, look, Jennifer sends out 12 emails on average. She sent 5 yesterday. She typically makes 25 calls from warm leads. She only made 12. So you kind of go, Jennifer, what's going on? I mean, this is the standard we agreed to. Something's happening here. You aren't waiting for 30 days to then say, did this work or not? So I really think the advent of AI agents for everything in your life is going to be transformative. It really is.
It really will. And there's a lot of support that's out there for founders. When I talk to founders and they just don't know where to start. A lot of our founders have businesses and they sit on the platform that's been very popular, Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
Shopify has their own AI, Shopify Magic, that I highly encourage everyone. If you have a paid plan with Shopify, I'd encourage to go look at Magic. Magic, still to this day, so many founders write out product descriptions. Unbelievable.
Handwrite it. Just
write it.
Yeah.
They put up a photo that needs work, and Magic focuses on some of those things. But then they also focus on some other things. Like I can tell you, and we've even looked at some businesses recently where the biggest thing that founders fall on themselves on is inventory management. They're out of stock on bestsellers. This is a killer for business. Yeah. Okay, AI is changing that game. There's no reason to be out of stock. If you use AI effectively, either in
predictive, you're talking about?
Yes, like, demand planning, which is a science of its own in retail, but direct-to-consumer founders are not as savvy about understanding that. It's not like they've been in big box retail. Not many of them have. But Shopify has it, and Shopify, a lot of apps in Shopify have it.
That's cool. That's such a killer for people.
Yeah. If you want to block the thing that's probably going to kill your business on some level, you can easily do that with AI now. And that's probably one of the biggest tips I would have for anybody right now is use it for financials, to analyze your financials, and use it to make sure you don't run out of stock. Yeah. Because if you do, you're going to have a bad month and a bad year in reality.
Yeah, you remember when we were starting with some of the websites at Hayneedle, they cost $50,000 or so each to build.
Did they?
Yeah.
They're so expensive. Insane. So much heavy lifting.
And 6 weeks to 3 months to build.
And so many people.
And just, QA this and QA that, and something didn't work and the whole thing would blow up.
Call all the drop shippers, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so you talk about handwriting the descriptions. It's like, well, what are we going to say about that? I mean, you call the manufacturer and you say, we want to sell your hammock. And they'd say, okay, cool. Here it is. And there's zero description about what it is. How do you make that up? Just the amount of time that you now compress all of that. You can do that same work in maybe 5 minutes.
Right.
Maybe 5. You're going to get it 90% of the way there.
Right.
With description, video, and some of the tools, video
imagery,
photo.
That's right. God. Shopify Magic does that.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a Shopify commercial.
No,
right
I mean,
now,
it's important. We should probably put a link to it in the show notes
so
people know how to reach it.
Yeah.
But it just means that you can start this without this whole team of people. And then the investment in the inventory. The thing that kills is, like you said, well, my God, we got to buy $20,000 worth of stuff here.
Yeah.
And now we got to spend how much on marketing? And that's usually those two things are what founders cut first.
Yep.
Well, we're not going to spend any on marketing. We got to save money this quarter. And we have way too much inventory, so let's just cut back on inventory without any data that shows them they should do one or two of those things. And so the exciting thing from, say, an investment or allocation of capital standpoint is you now can know that stuff and you can create a business like that. And I think, as I've said before, I think we're in a renaissance right now of creativity because it doesn't cost you $1 million to get going. You can get a lot of this done for under $10,000 just to test it.
And if you start, everybody generally, it's a struggle to get started. It's hard to change. It's a struggle to get started, but start small with one small thing. Like, let it help me generate the product descriptions. Yep. Even if you generated a high level set of facts about the product, and then you said, here's all the facts. Can you give me a good product description? It's going to help me sell my product. Yep. Something small. Because usually once you kind of break that ice and start with something small, you're going to continue to look for other opportunities. And that's
exactly. And
that's how they use AI.
Challenge your thinking.
Right.
I want to start this business. Here's my concept. Here's where I'm going. Test me on it.
Yeah.
And then kind of the Socratic way of just saying, ask me one question at a time, and then I'm going to answer it. and we're going to go on until I tell you to stop asking me questions.
Mm-hmm.
And you can test and pressure test a business idea to where you get either super convicted on it or you decide,
Right.
do a competitive analysis. Show me the top 5 competitors. How are they pricing their products? Tell me about their websites. Dive into the traffic. Show me who's the winner. And you might say, there's still a gap here. I can fill it.
Yep.
I mean, you can do that all in a morning.
You know, one thing I worked with a founder on months ago was she kind of had, so founders like retain things in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had this, she was starting to hire people, and they didn't really understand the brand. And I said, listen, you got to get this out of your head. So why don't you use AI to get this out of your head, form a brand guidelines document. So I guess a tip is, if you have stuff in your head, and it usually starts there because you're small, but let's say you're growing and now you're hiring people, they need to know these things like, what does your brand stand for? What's your brand voice? Because you need to be able to empower these folks to do what you had done. And you could really use AI kind of to set these guidelines in place, to get brand guidelines in place, creative guidelines in place, SOPs, it's very small stuff. But again, it kind of gets you started using AI to help you get things down on paper that helps empower your team.
It just eliminates the friction.
That's a great way to say it.
In the past, you're kind of like, oh my God, I got to have a onboarding manual. I don't understand what any of that is.
Right.
How do I do this? How do I do that? Have all of those things that are the friction to the excuse department stuff for getting going, to just say, it's done. It's out of the way. It's handled. Here's our mission, vision, everything. And you can continue to tweak it.
Right.
Here's my business. Here's what I try and create. It's amazing that not everybody's using it that way. It's just right there.
It's right there. It's very simple. It's a way to align and create glue amongst you, your team, your vendors, your suppliers. Just so efficiencies can be gained by the things you talked about, like the invoice, take 7 steps down to basically nothing. Yeah. Make that happen. Do those simple things where your processes are more automated, but then also, use it to help create a standard for your company and glue your team together and your vendors, and, empower them, create transparency, and even kind of pressure test the website against that. Hey, this is what I envisioned my brand voice to be, my brand guidelines, creative. Okay, here's my website. Tell me where the breakdowns are.
Does the site say what I just said?
Right. Where does it match? Where does it not match?
How many websites you look at, you go, huh?
Yeah.
What do these people do? I don't get it. And I just a side note, I had a medical test done. It was just an annual blood test type things. And I get the results back. And I was like, do I turn this page this way or this way? I can't even read any of this. I don't understand. I took all the stuff and just uploaded it and said, all right, chat, am I healthy or not healthy?
Right. Right.
It was incredible, the results I got back. Just like, hey, here's, conversational. Hey, here's some stuff that's great. Here's some stuff to watch. Keep going. But imagine just being able to take your site on a regular basis and do that same type of thing. Explain it like I'm 5. Does my vision and what I'm saying match with the website?
Right. Where does it match? Where does it not?
And just the other thing that I found, I don't want your take on like what tools you use, but a couple I've run across that I think are really interesting is the ability to take like any podcast you've been on, any transcript that you have of a meeting, even emails or lengthy emails, you combine all of those and you can dump those in with chat and say, look, this is how I talk. Here's how I communicate.
Put it in my voice.
And now anytime you and I interact, this is how I want you to speak.
Right.
So it's not maybe some, the technical jargon. It's just like, I'm talking to myself. This is really weird.
Yeah.
It then begins to think like you, and that's what scares people. It's like the conversation we had. If the economic cost of all intelligence was zero, meaning, you don't need a lawyer, an accountant, an HR director, or this or that. It was just like, it's here. Those people, I don't think we'll ever get there, but it's that thing about friction. Those are friction points. Business development or business prevention departments is what I call a lot of the lawyers.
Well, speaking of friction points, I think AI is way underutilized with customer communications. And tools like Zendesk and Gorgeous, which are probably the two most famous tools for conversation, are the AI portions of those tools are so underutilized. They're underutilized in two ways. First of all, to communicate to the consumer in a very rapid and effective way. But secondly, to analyze what that feedback is. You're getting consumer feedback. It's extremely valuable to the future of your business. You don't listen to it and you're going to have problems in the future of your business. So you've got feedback coming from service emails or whatever, people trying to actually communicate with you on usually problems, which is really important to understand. Then you've got product reviews, which is another source of feedback. And then you've got other types of feedback, right?
Where's my order?
Why not combine all of that feedback, throw it up into AI and say, what is it telling me I need to improve about my business? Like right now. These are the types of things that
That's big.
are pretty simple to do. What I do recommend to founders is I say, listen, dedicate at least an hour every day to just playing around with AI. Challenge it, stress test it. Think about what are my biggest problems in my business right now? Now go talk to AI about it and see what you get from it. Because we know that in order to start and do something new, it takes doing it in a regular and habitual way. So if you can't break out an hour a day, fine, but at least an hour, 3 days a week.
Yeah, that's really good advice, because self-teaching is just going to be the best way.
Yes.
Going to a class or going to a seminar, there might be some value in that, but the application is entirely personal.
Right.
It's entirely personal. And just learning what that is and makes you and your company tick. There's just nothing like do it yourself right now.
That's so true. And really younger generations like to do it themselves, right? They've grown up with the phone. I mean, data in their we didn't grow up that way, but we've transitioned. But younger generations are very self-serving.
Yeah, it's the way.
Very self-serving.
I saw a demo of one that's really interesting where it mimics your voice, completely duplicates it and it's an outbound sales application. And the thinking is, okay, if you're making 100 calls a day and you're getting hung up on, 50% of the time, and another 20% say, let's talk about it. And then 10% say, hey, maybe we should have a meeting. And maybe 5% say, I am absolutely interested. Imagine if you could do that 1,000 times a day.
Right.
Is it completely replacing today? No, because there's all sorts of gaps. But boy, if you can look around the corner and think about that, it's just something that's really powerful.
Now, I do want to say that I think some folks might get it out of hand using AI. So now I'm talking about the other side of the spectrum here. And I've even thought about this for myself quite a bit recently, is how do I sound? And I know you said you can tell it what type of voice to have when you're writing your own message, but how do I sound in written form versus how do I sound in verbal form? At the end of the day, we're social animals. And when we're in a room having a meeting, we're more authentic that way in reality. Are we continuing to stay authentic. So where do we cross the line?
Yeah.
I'm not sure just yet how to answer that, but I've been thinking a lot about that. Like, I don't want to come across one way with particularly my leadership development clients, right?
that's
And
true.
in email, and then come across another way when we're actually in a video call for a half an hour. I want to be careful that that's close enough.
Yeah.
I don't know what you have as suggestions on that. And I have to say, I just want to say one funny thing, and it's probably even definitely for me, is we created headshots. This is all over the place.
Yeah.
AI your headshots.
AI your headshots.
Yeah. Well, I love them, but I don't know that, if I get on a video call, people see my headshot and then they look at me, they're like, who's that? I've had that come to, like, I've looked at people on video calls that I'm meeting for the first time, and I'm looking at their headshot going, Now, I mean, it's a little, headshots professionally done. There's a little bit of separation by itself too. So it's not like this is absurd, but what do you think about these potential gaps that it's also creating?
Yeah, I think there's still a little, I guess, shininess to things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That it's exciting. It doesn't quite capture it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But the experience, if you have just the ability to think a little bit, maybe one or two steps beyond what we used, that's what excites me. So I hadn't had a headshot done in ever. I mean, it seems like 15, 20 years was maybe the last one.
Okay.
And I came across, what'd we use? Headshot Pro or something?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember what it was called.
Okay, so you have to upload 15 photos of yourself. And it doesn't matter what setting. You're on the beach, you're on vacation, you're sitting at dinner. It just doesn't matter. It's got to be. Well, I'm skimming through all my photos, and everything I have, people are in them. So.
Oh, right. I had the same problem. Yes.
So get this. I'm getting my tires fixed. I'm at Discount Tire.
And now you're going to do a selfie, huh?
And I'm doing 12 selfies.
Yeah.
And the looks of the people behind me are like, what is this dude doing? I mean, he's taking pictures of himself in a Discount Tire. But I had no other way to do it. And so I thought, all right, I'm just going to take these pictures and upload those. And I think it takes 10 minutes. Then you get to pick your background, what you're wearing, and all this stuff. And some of it's a little too fake.
It's fun.
But it was fun and fast and super affordable.
I've done headshots for the board 7 years ago. We had to do headshots. It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So there's a time savings. My point is, like, if we're thinking about direct-to-consumer e-commerce founders or anyone in that space, one of the leading reasons why we have to deal with returns, which honestly, I think that's worthy of a podcast at some point, is talking about returns, because we're very familiar with that space. But one of the leading reasons for that is the product image was not the same as what they got.
So true.
I would say be careful to not create a bigger gap on that with AI. That is where you have to be responsible, in my opinion, of using AI. You don't want to create these big gaps because it will just hurt you on the backside.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
That's a great point, because you get something and realize this is absolutely not what I saw in the picture.
Right.
And then the more you can take of those photos that are just accurate.
Yes.
Just regular photos.
Yeah.
I'd highly encourage that.
Yep. So you got to double check outputs from AI. You can't just say, this saves me time and I'm going to just load that up and I'm not even going to review it.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is make sure you take a minute to review what AI just outputted.
Yeah.
It is not an end all be all. And it will do a much better job than any other source, but you still have some ethics and an accountability to looking at what the output was.
Yeah, the belt and suspenders around that are really important.
Yeah.
So if you lean on it and say, this is my answer and that's it, you're probably got some holes in there.
Probably.
But boy, if you can get it, like we used to joke, if it's Microsoft perfect, meaning it's about 70% right.
Oh, gosh.
You can get it out there.
Yes.
And then you can change it and tweak it and improve it as you go. But if that realm and the time it took you to do that before was this, it's now kind of that.
Yeah.
And that's to me is what is really exciting. So don't be afraid of it, but man, your advice to just do it an hour a day is spot on. I think anybody who does that each day is going to go, my God, this is life-changing for our business. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I started, I was doing the simple stuff, just like, right? Yeah. Hey, help me refine. I wrote this email out. Help me refine it a little bit. Or I was doing a lot of simple things. One of my favorites is to look in the fridge, all the food I have, and tell me to make a meal. And I want to use the pressure cookers because I'm lazy, right?
That's
when
great.
It comes to cooking, right? But that's how you get started. Now I'm miles from that. And I don't know when I started that I thought I'd be more advanced, and I don't think we ever think we are, but we do. We tend to start very small and kindergarten level, and then we advance. So it will happen. Yeah. And of course, we're always available to help with those AI utilizations.
It's our silent partner. We use it all the time.
Yes.
It's just can help you be better.
Yes.
Reach out to us. We'd love to help you. We could probably do a whole nother series on just the tools that we use.
Right.
And we should maybe link some of those in the show notes and all that.
I think we should. Yeah. And for a lot of you that are e-commerce and on Shopify, start with Shopify Magic. Yeah. Just start there.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Good advice. Like us, subscribe, thumbs up. You know the drill. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you like what you just heard, give us a like and leave a comment so that more people can tune in. Or go subscribe on YouTube. To learn more about Mark and Jennifer, visit DundeeGP.com.